Well, this is a treat to have Chrissy Metz and Bradley Collins joining me. And I don't know if y'all remember this, but y'all have been on before. And
We did.
we talked about your first book, which was When I Talk to God, I Talk About You, with the album that accompanied it, Prayed for You, Prayed for This Day. And I have to say, I have a 5-year-old daughter, and I played that album for her all the time, and we read the book.
Oh, thank you.
And that Lullaby album is so beautiful because it just was like it was a companion to the book, and the book just is so thoughtful and kind, and it brings God back into the center point and just lets people know that they're loved, and kids know that they're loved just for being themselves. And you're back with another book. When I talk to God, I talk about feelings.
Yeah.
And this book makes me cry because I've always had big feelings my whole entire life. Like even as an adult, I'm 41 years old and I'm still, I mean, I literally have tears in my eyes because I was reading this book and I'm like,
Oh.
I don't think the generation above us knew how to express themselves like we do. You know? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, my mom particularly, she would always say like she was taught that kids were seen and not heard.
Like literally she said she was taught that.
Yes. Yeah.
What does that even mean? Because I feel that.
Yeah. Yeah, I
How
think
how would you break that down as like growing up in that kind of mentality?
right, well, you don't feel heard or seen, and then you're
Literally.
unimportant, and then you're like, "Oh, wait, so if I'm in a working relationship, platonic relationship, romantic relationship, how do I not communicate? Like, if you can't communicate how you feel, you can't communicate your needs. How do you have healthy relationships?" So yeah, it's definitely a ripple effect. Yeah, and it's unfortunate. So hopefully we're turning the tide, where I feel like our generation is, and I feel like that's our hope. So
I feel that because I mean, shout out to my parents. They're great. They did the best they could. They didn't even know what therapy was. It wasn't even like a term people used back then. And I feel like now for me, I have just been in therapy for as long as I can remember, trying to get a grasp of my feelings because I have identified that I'm a high functioning um, codependent. I have been an eternal people pleaser my whole life. And I literally just talk about like not knowing my voice, being able to speak up. Like even though, and Bradley, I've known you a long time. Like I've been out and
long
about in the
time.
music industry, bebopping around, acting confident, living my best life. But underneath it all, I literally had just huge, deep feelings that I was struggling as an adult identifying. And so the fact that you guys are starting writing these books and like teaching them to children, it is just so huge. And I just see the progress that we are making. And to have people like you guys who have a platform and who have like Bradley, you're so incredible at writing songs, and Chrissy, you've used your talents with acting and music and these books. And it's like, I just think it's so powerful that we're sending this message to our children because I'm like, I have this 5-year-old daughter, and literally, I had a freaking life crisis when I turned 38 and she was 2 years old. And I was like, if I don't get my shit together and like figure out what's going on in my head, like I cannot pass that on to her, you know? But you have to heal yourself
Yeah.
first.
Uh
Yeah,
huh.
absolutely. And growing up in the music business like I did, and like meeting you through music industry, it's you're taught to suppress your feelings even as an adult. I remember when I was at BMI, my old boss told me that I wore my emotions too much on my sleeve and that people knew too much about what I was thinking and what I was feeling. And I told him, I was like, I'm a creative. Music affects me very deeply. I very much feel songs, and if I didn't, then I'd be an accountant.
Yeah.
I'd be an accountant. I'd be doing anything else other than music. And then you're taught to not express yourself when bad things happen. Just take it on the chin and move forward. So
And why are we
feelings just seem
taught that? Because honestly, it doesn't go away, like it just gets
no.
locked in your body in that freezing feeling. Like I've been doing a lot of healing lately where like I'm trying to push, like go back and like remember feelings that maybe were traumatic that I had locked inside because whenever we're told to suppress our feelings, they don't go away. You just get stuck in that like
Yeah.
intense pain and then you just lock it up in your body and then you try to act like it didn't happen, but it doesn't process, you know?
Yeah,
So
I
we're
mean,
just living with it.
especially in the music industry where you're taught to be nice to everybody, no matter what they say to you, just keep going, and that's not healthy. You just keep pushing it down, pushing it down, pushing it down, and I see so many friends, unfortunately, that it comes back up a lot worse, and lost a good friend a while ago because he didn't talk.
I know.
He didn't come out and say what was going on with him, even though everyone thought his life was perfect,
And he was the
and that's
nicest, happiest guy,
successful
so
family,
successful.
everything else. Yeah.
Yeah,
Tough,
literally,
really tough.
because we talking about feelings, and literally it comes back to this, and it talking about feelings is the scariest thing we can do, I feel like.
It's
But it
vulnerable. You're vulnerable to your core when you say what you're feeling and what you're struggling with.
because what can happen, you could tell someone that you feel like the feelings you'll talk about in this book are so great, the main feelings. Happy, even talking about that. I love how you paint a picture. There's a scenario, there's like a little scene that's happening ahead of time, and like you read about it, and it's like it puts this feeling up where it's like the happy one. The little animals are playing with each other by the
Hmm.
creek, and they're dancing around and singing, and you can just tell that they're just in joy. And it's like, oh, that's what happy is. And then after it says, when I think about, I'm not saying it exactly right, but when I think about happy, this is what it's like, kind of. But you
Right.
go through the feelings where it's like happy, sad, frustrated, nervous, scared, to brave. And it's because it's what are the consequences of not telling our feelings? We all know the consequences because we're adults now. And we have lived with the consequences of not sharing our feelings. And we see it, like you were saying, Bradley, we see it in our adult friends. And I think that that's why there's like this fire burning in us to like get our kids to know the consequences of not sharing your feelings and to be brave enough to like start learning how to do it at a young age. So it's not like this giant thing we have to tackle as an adult, you know, and like I said, I've been doing therapy for 20 years to try to figure this out. So I just
Right.
think it's
Right.
incredible that we're
Yeah. I
starting
mean,
so young.
feelings aren't something to hide or to fix, yourself. They're supposed to be talked about openly, and hopefully the payoff is that, kids feel a little more seen if they can talk about their feelings, and hopefully parents will use this book and feel a little better equipped to talk to children about feelings and, even how feelings affect them. So that's, hopefully that's the payoff of this.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we suppress and stifle our feelings, that's creating dis-ease in our body. And I think that's where a lot of dis-ease comes from. And just on a cellular level, it's like we have to do it in order to stay healthy, like mentally, emotionally, and physically. It's all connected. And I feel like, I taught preschool. I have a very big family, and
You taught
you,
preschool?
yeah, back in Florida. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I guess you did.
Yeah. And, so much of any of the communication was always about like, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I'm going through. And even if they couldn't name the feeling, they were trying to express it. So we're trying to name the feeling, express it, and then feel honored and communicating that. And I think that that is so important in treating the soil in the way that kids will walk through the world as adults. So we can like preempt the really tragic events that happen when people are adults and have been suppressing their feelings all their lives. So it's, obviously a simplified, very big, complex issue. And we've simplified it into this really beautiful children's book, picture book, to like just sort of plant the seed in that soil, and hopefully change sort of the way that children see themselves and see relationships and their feelings. So yeah, I'm really excited. I feel like now's the time. I think it's very timely, in many ways. So yeah, I'm hoping that it makes an impact, and what our intention was behind it is conveyed for sure.
And I think
Yeah.
too, just teaching kids like at such a young age, just to even know how to talk about it, you know, like
Mhm.
you were saying, be seen, not heard. Like I didn't even know how to have these kind of conversations or what even to say is like, how would you even know how to even bring this up? You have to be guided into it, you know?
Yeah. You're like, I know
Yeah.
that I hurt my knee because I fell, but do we talk about being embarrassed because you fell in front of your friends, or whatever? So it's you always funnel down the feelings, but of course, if you don't know, you don't know.
So, Chrissy, you said the last book tour and releasing that album was super healing for you. What was the healing? What did you heal with especially? Like, what was that went on
Well,
inside?
yeah, I mean, as a child, like I was a middle child of five.
A middle child of five.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah.
So
So,
you were really just like in the middle of it all, hanging on for dear life.
yeah, like Chrissy who? Like what? That's how it felt. I'm not saying it was that was my perception, but my perception is my reality. And so it was difficult. I didn't really feel seen or heard. And that, of course, obviously ushered into my adulthood and the way that I would walk through any room or an audition room or a relationship, whatever. And as we were writing the book and the music, and I was like, oh, like I'm finally getting to say the things that I never got to say, either to my parent or to a loved one, or never heard from a loved one or a parent. And not to say our parents didn't do the best they could, because if they knew better, they would do better. But being able to hear that and then knowing I'm putting that energy into the universe was just very, very cathartic for me. Even if I listen to the music now, I'm like, oh my gosh, like no matter what, I think is my favorite song on that
I
album because,
love that song.
and it was,
Do you know that song randomly would just come on and start playing on my phone? Like I am not kidding. Like I was on a walk with my daughter the other day and we were just like in the middle of a dried up river and it just started playing. And I was like, God, God, are you
yeah,
talking to me?
yes, he is, yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, I
I,
guess
It's
sending
a
me this
powerful
message
song.
right now.
I believe
Okay,
that.
I'm
I
listening.
believe, I believe that stuff.
I
Like
do too.
those messages and those things happen for a reason, and we need to be reminded that like we are loved no matter what, no matter how much money we make, if we ever never become successful, if we don't continue to be successful, like just as we are, we are loved, like no matter what. So yeah, yeah, always in my feelings about it.
Is that and not to talk about This Is Us because I'm sure you're like so everyone wants to talk about it. But that show was a big impact show. Like, like it really hit everybody in the freaking core. I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, whoa, I did not expect to feel this way about a TV family. Y'all made us all feel seen and heard, which kind of goes back into the feelings. Is what is it like to be a part of something like that? And is that just like a little special spot in your heart forever? Or is it like hard to like move on to something else? Because like that's a once in a lifetime moment.
Oh, a once in a lifetime, absolutely.
Like all the
Bucket.
people that came together, the magic of it. Like it's just like I just feel like you can't like that's just it.
Yeah, yeah. That. There was a woman who accosted me in the driveway, and she was like, "Hey, like my daughter told me that you live here, and I couldn't believe it. But I just want to let you know that if you never book another job, like it doesn't matter
It
because
doesn't it
you see what
doesn't
you did." And I was like, you know what? You're actually right.
It doesn't
Like,
matter. You have already done the holy grail of life. And it's like, but it's not even like it's like this mountaintop and everything's down from here. It's like, holy cow, you got that. You got the golden egg. Like no one gets the golden egg.
well, I mean, we do, and we did, and that was what's so special is like because it meant and it was meant to make such an impact, and it did. It will live with me forever, and of course, it has a special place in my heart. Of course, I've done multiple projects since, and just finished a movie in Cape Town, but like, um, it will always hold such a special place for so many reasons, and provide cool opportunities, but also I still get to talk to random strangers about how they feel and what comes up for them when they watch the show. And so, yeah,
But it's like
yeah.
one of those shows like it's like one of those shows like Friends or like Seinfeld or like, that are just like it's just they just go into that catalog of it's like these are the greatest shows that have ever been made. And it's just so cool. What do you think? You said that it holds a special spot for so many reasons. What are some of the biggest reasons?
Well, not only the friendships that I made, but what I learned about myself, what I learned about acting, what I was taught by the other actors, the camaraderie that we have, like the confidence building, the understanding of who I am and how Kate informed me and I informed her, and then also just the way that it impacted the world, like people that I never thought I would have anything in common with. And we end up talking and, just sharing stories. And it's, I mean, literally, I'm in Cape Town, I'm in Nigeria, and like people watch the show. I'm like, wait, what? like, you got to be kidding me. So, yeah, in every single way. In every single way, I was changed by it.
Do you feel like this, and this goes for you too, Bradley, because I mean you're around the magic of song all the time as well.
Hmm.
It's like you can show up every day and you can go to an audition or you can write a song or you can even have like a freaking awesome situation where you're like maybe you have two of the greatest, maybe you have an artist, say it's you, Bradley. Maybe you have like there's an artist right happening or or it feels like so promising or you have such a promising audition, but it's like that's not the thing that happens. It's this other thing that comes in through the back door that like you could never have planned for. And then it gets this momentum and this magic behind it that you can't force. And it's just like that is you just have to like show up and be there to receive it when it happens. Like, do you feel that way about this industry? Like, do you feel like a lot of the things that happen you aren't the ones you're necessarily seeking out, that it just you have to believe in magic with it?
Absolutely. It's just repetition. You have to write all the time as much as you can. I never cancel writes, show up because you never know what's going to happen or who else is going to walk in the room that day. And, I chase down the ideas I love and I chase down the ideas that other people love. And hopefully we land on something that months from now will be released. Found out I'm getting a cut yesterday on an
Heck
artist,
yeah.
and yeah, exciting. Um, and it's something that I'd never thought that would be recorded. you
Right.
know
Yeah. It's the
yeah,
ones that you didn't even think anything of.
it's a one that in the room that I was like, okay, let's do this artist really wants to write this, let's do it. And then the other song that I thought was really great, he's not going to record. So you just never know. So it's showing up and kind of talking about feelings, curbing your feelings and a lot of your ego just to go in and say, hey, I'm here to write the best song I can today, no matter however it comes out. I know part of me is going to be in there. Hopefully, it's good enough to get out.
Hmm. Totally. Ego does play a big part. Why is ego important and how do we listen to ego and how do we say ego is time to hop in the passenger seat, like appreciate you, but no.
Well, yeah, I feel like in writing, especially, you put yourself second, and you're there to write. For me, I'm there to write for the artist that day, whatever it is they're wanting to say. One of the first questions I ask is, "What's next for you? What are you working towards? What's the next thing for you?" So that doesn't, I don't hold on to ideas and make them my precious little babies. I just try to see what's best for the artist and move forward with what they want to say because I don't have the desire to get out on a stage and perform.
But
That's
you do
not
have the
that's not my
desire
thing.
to speak your feelings because obviously you
Yeah,
pour your truth into it.
absolutely. Yeah.
Do
You
you think
know,
that's why you became a songwriter is to get your feelings out?
yes, I have deep feelings. Like I referenced with my boss earlier, who said that I was too emotional. Writing has helped out a lot. Writing is the best therapy for me
Did you
because
express your feelings as a kid?
I did. Yeah, I did. My kind of similar to Chrissy's background, we were taught manners and to be nice and seen, not heard, and that we'll talk about it when we get home. And didn't always happen. We talked about it when we got home. So a lot of this book for me, when I reference, feelings aren't somebody to hide or to fix yourself. I was the fixer myself. I hid them myself. And last few years, I've been having to dig it up and
Mm.
see what was there and what I had suppressed and worked towards. You know, we talk a lot about like inner child work, and that happened a lot on the first book and even more on this book about, the little Bradley, the little Chrissy, the little Caroline, like what do they need? What do they need to hear? And what did they not get as a child that they need now? I know that has really helped me out a lot, just kind of digging deep and feeling out what I didn't hear and what I needed.
What did you
Um,
need and what didn't you hear?
Um, I heard a lot. I grew up in a home, two wonderful parents who were not wonderful together.
Mm.
I From the first time I spent the night at a friend's house and I saw their parents eating dinner together, I thought, wow, that's weird. They're in the same room eating dinner together. They're sleeping in the same bedroom. What is going on here? And then I realized, okay, my home is not bad by any means, but also it wasn't a place where you could really model for future relationships. And a lot of that work for me has come around, what is it that is right and wrong, and what is a good way to be there for somebody else.
Oh,
Um,
because you're having to come up with your own meter because you're saying like what you said is your parents were great, but like it's not like you had a model of like what's a healthy relationship per se necessarily. It's not like you had a bad one, but it's not like you had the one you want to follow.
no, no, it's the one that I would have followed would not be a path to healthy
But it's
relationships.
identifying that, even identifying that we have these patterns that are ingrained in us because we're just born into it. If you don't examine it, you don't even know, you just repeat. And I feel like
Oh
so
yeah.
many of us do repeat because we don't, looking into this is hard work.
Oh, it's
You
not
know?
pretty.
It's not pretty.
It's not pretty. It's not fun. It's not something you really want to talk about with your friends. You talk about it with a therapist and
It's
whoever you're in a relationship
embarrassing.
with.
There's some shame involved with it. There's
But
like
why is that?
insecurity.
But why are we
Why?
embarrassed? Why are we embarrassed and ashamed of where we came from?
I was always embarrassed that when someone actually got to know me, they were going to see that there was nothing there, that there was like nothing
Mm.
special. And that's been like my biggest quest is like, and I don't know if I do think a lot of people feel this way, but I put it on a lot of fronts and like would try to get a lot of facades going on here to make it appear that like there was, I didn't want anyone to ever get too close to me because I'm like, oh, if they get in there and they really get access, they're going to see like, oh no, this is not good, you
But
know?
we all come from some kind of background like that. It's not just you or me. It's everybody comes from a background where we're trying to kind of hide what we're doing, and that suppression is what really gets us in trouble because I found that if you're vulnerable and you say where you're coming from and it kind of explain your behavior a little bit, it's a lot easier for someone to understand than you're distant or disinterested. You know, that's
Yeah.
the hardest thing to do. Just being fully there. Um,
Yeah, well, I think it really boils down to everything that we do is because we want to be liked, because we want to be loved. So we put up facades, we act like we're different people. We aren't honest because if we are and we confront that honesty and the person doesn't agree, then they're going to go running and they're not going to stick around. They're not going to choose you. They're not going to love you. And ultimately, that's what we want. It's like, choose me as I am,
Mm,
good, bad, and the ugly. And the people who are meant to choose you will choose you, good, bad, and ugly. And the people who aren't don't belong in your life anyway. But it's like the fear that comes with, if I really show you who I am, will you still love me?
yeah.
Will you
That's
still
a
love me?
that's a big gnarly fear.
It's so scary.
It's
I mean,
so scary.
I think it's probably the scariest thing to authentically be yourself and put yourself out there and fingers crossed that like you'll be loved for it. And then not take it personally if the person doesn't, if it's like not the right thing. So, yeah, it's definitely a process and it's hard because we come with all of the conditioning from our childhood.
Conditioning, our origin story that is not no fault of our own. I mean, it's like, yes, of course we play a part in it, but like where we're born, the circumstances we're born to, the dynamics we're born to, the traumas we're born into. It's like all that, like it sets the tone for your life and you don't even realize that it's not you. Like because when you're young, you feel like you are your whole circumstance and it's all you. And it's like
yeah,
detaching from that as you get older, you're like, oh my God, yes, this is what I was born into and these things happen to me, but that is not me. And that is just like that realization that we are not our circumstances or our environments.
sure.
That is such a big one to learn, though. I mean, that has taken me my entire lifetime to be able
Yeah.
to grasp that, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
And
it's like
then,
as children, we're told to be brave, be quiet, be strong. But this book hopefully tells children to be real, to be honest, to be themselves.
To be
And
frustrated, to be
yeah,
sad.
everything.
When we were younger, it's like if you started to cry, it'd be like, oh, no, 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 don't cry. But it's like, cry, cry. You had
Get
a
it out.
bad day. Like that is awful. That would hurt my feelings too. And I finally learned with my daughter, I don't have to make it better for her. Like she can have, and I just learned this because I've been high functioning codependent with her for so long because I don't want her to have a bad day. I don't want her to doubt her
Mhm.
self-worth. I don't want her to feel bad about herself. And so I'm like trying so hard not to ever let her have these feelings. And I had on this podcast, I learned so much on this podcast I had a child and like expert come on here and she's like, no, if she has a bad day, if she got left out of school, if like two girls are being mean to her, let her have it and don't fix it. Just
Yeah.
be there with her and let her feel it. Like you're talking about in these books, like feel sad, feel left out, feel, insecure. But no, I'm here with you and it's not true, but you feel that way. Okay, feel it all the way through because you're never going to not feel these feelings. They're going to come up
Sure.
your whole life,
Your
you
entire
know?
life.
Yeah,
Your
the point
entire
is to
life.
not stifle them. The point is to just say, I'm here for you, I love you, and tell me how you feel. And it really will bolster the confidence to like communicate that effectively moving
Yeah.
forward, you know? And it's so important to be able to vocalize how you're feeling because when you do suppress those feelings, I mean, like we've said since the beginning, like they will find a way out.
They will find a way out.
It might not be great. It might not be the way that you want them to, and it can be really unfortunate. And so just sort of imparting that with, faith and saying like, you know what, like God's here to also hear you. And you can tell him anything. There's nothing too big, too small. No feeling that like that for me is like no matter what. Like I pray all day, every day, no matter what.
All
Like
day, every day.
literally, I'm like,
Tell
please,
me your
God.
prayer schedule. Tell me your schedule.
Literally, I'm like in the morning, like I will not get out of bed before I have like a gratitude prayer.
And what do you say?
Oh, I'm like, thank you, God, that I woke up. Thank you, God, for that I can see, that I am able to walk, that I can go to the bathroom on my own. Things that we just take for granted in a way that, like, we just get up and we're hustling, we're on with our day. I always find at least 10 things to be grateful for.
So you
And
start your day with gratitude.
I have to. Like I have to. If I don't, or if there's like, I'm rushed awake with a phone call or whatever, I'm like, I'm definitely discombobulated for the day. Like it doesn't bode well for me.
You're right,
And
and it's a chain of events. So if you start your day off without that gratitude to anchor you in, then immediately you're in the chaos without the anchor.
yeah, and then you set up your day for what you want your day to look like. And so, if you're in gratitude, you're going to be grateful all day. If you're like in despair, not to say you can't have those feelings about it, but if you're in despair, if you're disappointed, it's really hard to shake that. Um, I mean, it's important to feel it, but it's hard to shake that. So gratitude for me is really helpful. But like literally, before I do an interview, an audition, a phone call, I'm like, God, be with me. Like, help me to be open-hearted and open-minded and help me to remove my ego, to listen to, like just be the conduit, just be the person that you want me to be. Like it's it's so hard. The ego is, obviously it was necessary when the saber-toothed tiger is chasing us in the jungle, now it's a little hard to grapple with. But it's real and it is to protect you, but it's also can be detrimental. So yeah, I mean, for me, I'm such a work in progress that I'm like, if it's working, I'm gonna keep working it. So that for prayer for me is just that collective consciousness to my higher power, to God, that like you're with me, I'm with you, you're omnipresent, you're in everything always. So
When did you start operating from gratitude like that? And how did everything change?
I think it was probably like I mean like off and on growing up for sure, but probably after This Is Us. Um and just like knowing what I came through to get to where I was, I'm like, this has to be God. Like, what else could it be? And if I'm not honoring him and I'm not grateful to him, not only is it incredible that the more grateful you are, the more you receive.
That is so true, and people don't realize that if they're not in the practice.
Yeah, isn't it wild? Like,
Yeah,
it's almost like, how can what are you kidding me?
like
Like,
magic can happen.
yeah, it really, really can. It really can. And yeah, so I found it to be so advantageous that I was like, well, I can't stop now. So I think consistently for probably 7, 8 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you said something earlier, and I just relate to this, and I think there's another piece to it that you mention a lot. Even your first book was about this. The title of your first book says this, which is This is Me Loving the Person You Are Today, loving the person you are today. because we're saying we hope that people love us. That's ultimately the goal. You know, all these things that we do are in hopes that people love us. But the kicker that I have finally realized, it's like the alchemist, the journey of the alchemist. And
Mhm.
it's like
So
finally,
good.
finally you realize, oh, I've gone on all of this journey and all of these trials and tribulations and all these highs and these lows and these experiences. And I've rewired my entire existence and I've been in search of this treasure, in pursuit of this goal that I thought I was after. But really, the treasure is now that I love myself and I see myself, because we want to be seen and loved, but that really doesn't happen until you see and love yourself. And I feel like you had that revelation, Chrissy, and like you wrote this book about it too, which is amazing.
Well, it is also, it's not linear. Healing is not
Oh
linear.
no, 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 no. You can have a
Yeah,
great
so
day and then next day you're freaking back in the gutter.
yeah, you're like, wait a second. I thought I was like okay from that. And for me, like, yes, learning to love yourself for who you are, like, because if you don't, you can't get to the person that you want to be or you're destined to be. But
Hmm.
also, the craziest part is that, like, once you start to love yourself for truly who you are, good, bad, and different, and you're like, you don't even care what other people think anymore.
Right.
Right. And you're like, wait a second. What? Who? I don't, what? All this for what? And now, yeah, it's just so,
Because you know you're
yeah,
valuable. Because,
yes.
and that's what I feel like it took me forever to realize. It's like, I'm valuable. If I
Mhm.
love me, I don't care if you don't love me. And like, because I know I'm showing up every day as the best version that I possibly can. I put in the work. I'm gonna mess up, but like, I know I am bringing the best I can. And if I can look in the mirror and say, like, I love you and I'm proud of who you are and who you're becoming, then it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. And any opportunity that's missed or whatever, because it's like what you were saying earlier, if it's made for me, it will come to me. I don't have to go hunt it down.
Yeah, 100%. It will chase you down.
And it will, you say that with such confidence. How
It
do
will,
you know that?
because it happens. Every single time I think I'm never going to get another job. I'm never, here I go. What's going to happen now in my life? And an opportunity always arises. And it goes back to me like surrendering and trusting in God and his plan for me because I don't know. I don't know best. If I, oh gosh, I don't know best. I certainly don't. And that surrender and trust in knowing that, hey, what's going to happen is going to happen. And I'm, of course, stay ready. So you don't have to get ready, but at the same time, being,
Stay ready. That's so key. Stay
yeah,
ready. Just be ready
and-
for it. How do
yeah,
you
and be
stay ready?
receptive. Oh, for me personally, it's whether I'm in an acting class or I'm taking voice lessons or I'm singing every day or I'm being creative, I'm writing or developing a show or whatever it is that like, okay, like I'm still honing those skills. It's like you expect to run a marathon, but you've never gone and put your shoes on. You're like, oh,
Hmm.
I'm probably not gonna have a great time in this marathon.
Keeping your knife sharpened.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. So, and whatever that looks like, because everybody's is different. But yeah, just being like, okay,
I'm ready for
I'm,
the opportunity when it comes
yes, yeah, exactly.
and
And
believing it's going to come because you're ready. And
yeah,
because you know you have something to contribute and offer, and you know that your soul is wanting to give in that way.
yeah.
And it's
And from a place of humility, for me, is always quintessential. Like, it's not because I'm like, I'm better than so and so, or no. In fact, it's like maybe people need to know that like I don't ever figured it out and maybe I don't have it all together and I'm just a regular girl, like just have a different kind of job and hopefully you can relate to that. And also so many people's stories get to be told that way and need to be told. The working mom who like doesn't doesn't ever feel like she's appreciated, any of those things that every story needs to be told and deserves to be told. So no matter what it is.
agreed. Agreed. Why is that? Why is it? Why? And for you too, Rodley, like, why does every story need to be told? Why do we need to tell our stories?
Because it's who we are, it's where we came from. I remember when I was working at BMI for forever, I'd want to know where somebody was coming from and what their motivation was to be a singer or a songwriter or an industry person, whatever it was, because you could really get to know somebody better that way, knowing what their passion is. And I realized the ones that I connected to were the ones that I saw myself in them the most. I
Hmm.
could look at them and say, okay, they have this fire inside of them that they want to do more than what they're doing right now. You know, I remember one of my favorite artists that I worked with was an insurance adjuster. And I was like, well, tell me about that. And he just didn't really say much. And then I talked about writing, and his passion for that was just so much more through the roof that I knew that this guy was going to do something. Now, I never knew if they what they were going to do, but I knew that they had something more in them than what they were currently pursuing. So
And you
telling
knew
your
they were going to
story,
get it. You knew they had the
yeah,
hunger to get it.
yeah, and I worked with so many people that it got to be a little obvious about who had it and who didn't, and who needed more help and who needed to be left alone. You know, like I remember when I first met Michael, I was like, this guy, he's got it. This is what he's going to do no matter what happens. He's going to be a writer.
And
He's
guess
going to
what,
be a
Bradley?
writer.
We have done the no matter what happens ride because we have seen it
Yeah.
all. We're like, we want the full deluxe package where we experience every possible scenario that can happen,
Hmm.
the good, the bad, the ugly, like you were talking about earlier, Chrissy. It's like, let's take that ride. Because,
Yeah. I
you
mean,
know,
and having a partner like yourself, I'm sure it just helps him and you
yes, it
and
does.
vice versa. I'm such a fan of him too, you know, and it's it's not easy. It's not a
It is not
linear
easy.
path. I mean, I
None of
look
this is
at
easy.
no, and I look at it as especially well in any kind of creative industry, there's not one way to success, and there's not one way to fail. Everyone's story is completely unique and different, no matter where they are or where they end up. And
So
that's something
true.
that I keep coming back to. Is just because it hasn't happened yet, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
But
Just got to
all your
keep grinding.
circumstances and scenarios have to line up to make the perfect moment. And ultimately, this is all about us learning our lessons, our life lessons anyway. And so it's like you can't get something before you're ready for it, you know?
No, because you're not going to appreciate it, or it's not going to have the lesson that you need to have. You know, that might not actually be your lesson. I feel like we have so many lessons to learn that I'm learning something every day about what I need to work on and what I
Yeah.
need to do to be a better person or better friend or whatever to anyone else around me, because it's constantly changing. And I really look at the people that are closest to me and what they're going through and how I can either help or learn or improve myself. It's constantly changing.
I kind of have an idea for y'all's third book. Not that y'all don't already have one, but you're
Let's
saying
do
it.
it.
Uh, Chrissy, when you're saying your mantras, that you start off in gratitude in your mantras, it's like, so y'all talk about how like the first one's when I talk to God, I talk about you. It's just like, you know, that deep love. And then this one's about identifying feelings. The next one could be like putting in place like some structure that helps you, you know, stay on track, like the mantras, like how you wake
Hmm.
up in the morning and like how you say your little mantras, like you know,
That's cute.
because mantras are really important and to like learn those as a kid. I try to go through mantras with my daughter at night, like I am brave, I'm strong, I'm confident, you know, but like I just feel like, I don't know, to be a third
Well,
book.
yeah, I mean, we become, I mean, we're creatures of habit. So if you can create a good, positive habit, it will it will only benefit you. And even if you like, "Ugh, I don't see it happening, it's not going to happen. And then one day you're in a particular situation and you're like, you know what? I am brave. Like I can do this. Yeah, I can do this. And you do it and you're like, I knew it. I knew I was brave, like so you put it into practice and it's if we've been conditioned in a negative way, we can condition a positive way. So
Amen.
I believe mantras are wonderful, awesome. I mean, you hear people, I mean, a mantra, you can say, I love you. Like that's a mantra to someone. And you can say it to yourself, of course, but like it, for somebody who didn't ever really feel loved and you hear that, you're like, I don't know. I don't know if I believe you. And then people continue to show you. And then you're like, okay, you do love me and I am loved. Like that is a mantra. Like that is something that you then get to live, and it's not just words, they're not empty
You
words.
believe it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm all about the mantras too, for sure.
So, what is our hope with this book? When I talk to God, I talk about feelings. What do you hope that when kids are read this book or read this book, what is your hope?
Bradley, you want to take it away?
Sure. I mean, the hope is that a child knows, I believe I said this earlier, is know that feelings aren't something to hide or fix themselves. is something to be talked about, and that, this life is about lessons, and sometimes what we go through has a bigger meaning than we even know is going on with them. So if a child feels a little more seen because they know that they can talk about, being frustrated or being nervous, or parents can feel a little more equipped to have these conversations, because you write a children's book for parents. You write it for parents to have a conversation with children. First book, it was a conversation with children about what prayer means, because that really hit me. I didn't know if I was allowed to pray to this God that we go in church and pray to every single Sunday or not, because it felt so big to me. And hopefully that book answers some questions. And the feedback I had from even my friends talking to their children about prayer was incredible. And hopefully this book, the same thing, is being like, as a child, you have emotions, you have feelings, you have good days, bad days, sad days, happy days. But the ones that aren't so happy or sad or happy or fun are just as warranted to be talked about, and just as safe of a place to talk about. And hopefully that is a conversation starter between a parent and a child to start on this. It's like me, it's like I wish I started playing golf when I was, 6 years old. Didn't happen. I was like 26 when I started playing golf, and I don't play golf anymore. But if you start talking about your emotions as a child and be able to express yourself and say, I feel sad because of this, or I feel frustrated. And even if you can't even put it, like wrap it up and say exactly why, but if you talk about it and you express yourself, getting that out is so helpful. That's just a habit forming, positive thing you can carry with you the rest of your life. And hopefully, when I talk to God, I talk about feelings, does that. And that's the impact it has. And that's certainly how it was intended.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I think being able to name the feeling will provide, I hope, provide a safe space for kids to, even if you're talking to someone and they don't believe you're feeling, or they're like, I didn't do that. And you're like, no, 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 no. Like, I'm not saying that how you're feeling. I'm telling you how I'm feeling. And so many times, even in obviously adult conversations, it's like, wait, no, no, no. Like, I'm telling you how I feel. And I'm valid in my feelings. And I get to hold this space for myself and my feeling. And you're going to listen to it. And I think that that kind of confidence, and it's not from an ego place, but just like I'm worthy enough to share with you how I feel. And I think so much, especially right now in our society with social media and all the ways that we can separate and we don't have the connectivity. And, it's hard. Parents are working their tails off to support their kids, but they're also not connecting with them. They're like, oh, here's this tablet. Oh, here, watch TikTok, whatever. And what they're being informed with is not always positive. And so, if even reading the book creates 10 minutes of connectivity and like, oh, you know what? Well, I felt this way today. Well, I felt this way. And there's like a safe space of like, oh, we both have feelings and they're both important to talk, to each other about. Um, and the better we get about communicating, the more comfortable we feel, which means we break that generational trauma by, if you've never done something, you're uncomfortable about it. So the more you practice it, the better you get at it. And so I hope that it just sort of creates time for connectivity, but also um, just sort of an awareness about them, about the feelings. And like Bradley said, like the book is also written for the parents, because a lot of us didn't know how to communicate those feelings or even think that we should. We could, we should, they're warranted, they're necessary. It's like, whatever, like keep it moving. Um, and not to say that like obviously we don't want to be little sacks of puddles or whatever, like we also want to create thick skin, we also want to be tough too. But
It's a beautiful symphony.
yes, 100%. It's all the things. And so I just hope that it will create conversation, create a safe space, and bolster the confidence between the relationship of the reader and the audience. That, I'm here for you. I love you and I'm listening to you. And like, also, what can we do about it? But you got to name the feeling first. So it goes in
Yeah.
steps. Yeah.
And it's such a
Yeah.
simple book and it's so profound.
Well, thanks. And it's also, even if you can't land on the words, I think we're always struggling to land on the words. The book, our our illustrator, Lisa Fields, is so unbelievably talented. She went through and gave each different feeling a color.
Yeah, you can
So,
feel it.
be
Oh, an
brave.
actual color.
Yeah, like be brave. Okay, sure, be brave. What an open-ended concept, right? But that's like yellow. And then being frustrated is like a dark orange. Being nervous is a dark purple. Being embarrassed is a dark color. But all of those emotions have feelings attached to them. And if you can say, I'm feeling like this, I'm feeling that like this little fox that fell off the log in front of his friends and got mud all over his paws is embarrassed. Okay, that's fine. It happens. You don't have to tie it all together in a bow and say, Mom, Dad, this is how I'm feeling. It's like, I just feel this. I don't know why. And it's this color. It's this feeling. It's whatever it is. So it's kind of multiple.
That's
It is
cool.
multiple levels of stuff, multiple levels of communicating feelings and saying, yeah, this is the color that I'm feeling. This is what I'm feeling right now. Of course, if you're frustrated, okay, what are you frustrated about? How does that make you feel? What is it saying to you? Because something has happened or hasn't happened. Um, but yeah, again, Lisa Fields, so talented, really tied it all together. And at the end of the book, every single color through the book comes down on the animals in a rainbow, and it's around us all the time. Um, and that's 100% Lisa. So fortunate and proud to be working with her, and she wanted to do another book with us, which is great.
That's incredible. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap up. I wrap up, and then can I ask y'all just like after this, just do a quick little bonus episode where we answer a few rapid fire questions that y'all will love. They're gonna be great questions,
Sure.
and we'll be wrapped up within an hour. Okay. I always leave with leave your light, and it's open ended. What do you want people to know? Inspiration. Just drop in some inspiration.
Oh, that you're loved, that you're made from love with love to love.
That's awesome.
I would say you don't have to have it figured out. You know, you're with children, especially with their parents or guardians or however their family looks, that there's a support system there. Um, I just put out a song to support this book called "When I Don't Know What to Say," and it's an instrumental piece about those times when you're sitting in your feelings and you're like contemplating what is it that I'm feeling, and it's so important, I think, to think before we speak
Hmm.
and really get the 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 words aligned. And it doesn't always happen quickly, but it does come together if you spend the time on it and really dig deep and say, what is the honest me going to say, and not have a knee-jerk reaction to an emotion.
I love that. I love that so much. Okay, when I talk to God, I talk about feelings. Where can everyone get this? Tell me all the details, what everyone needs to know.
Wherever your favorite bookseller is, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Parnassus here in town, it's gonna be all of those places.
Okay, and it's coming out
April,
April 8th.
you
April
can
8th.
pre-order now, or yeah, you can just wait to our pub date.
It'll be out by the time this airs. So it'll just have come out. So that's so exciting.
Okay.
Anything else people need to know about? Any places they should be keeping up with you guys or any other news we need to stay in touch with?
I mean, ChrissyMetzMusic.com or my Instagram, any of those social places is pretty much all the info that you might want to know.
Same here, Bradley_Collins. I couldn't get Bradley Collins at Instagram, but that and BradleyCollinsMusic.com.
Okay, amazing. Thank you guys so much. And we're gonna do a quick little tell me more, a few questions as a bonus episode. So I know y'all love this so much. So tune in on Thursday and you'll get to hear them answer these amazing questions. Thank y'all so much. This was incredible.
Thank you, Caroline.
You
Bye. This will take like 5 minutes. It will be
Okay.
so short. Thank y'all. That was awesome. Y'all are so inspiring. What a great.
Thank you for your thoughtful questions.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks for
thank
spending
you.
time with thanks for spending time with the book.
Well, it means a lot to me. It hits me as a human, as an adult who's struggled with feelings, and as a mom who's wanting to teach my daughter. So, I mean, it's an awesome book. Thank y'all for writing. It's
How
like
old is she now?
5.
Okay.
So I like
Mm,
the pressure's on to like really like get my I'm like,
you got this. You got it. You're already doing it.
you can do this.
To
Okay.
be like as like thoughtful as you are, like that is half the battle. Like
Yeah.
you're, yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It really matters to me a lot to let her feel seen and heard.
Mm,
It's like the big goal.
yeah.
Okay. I am so excited to be back here for a quick bonus episode with Chrissy Metz and Bradley Collins. We talked on Monday all about their new book that just came out. When I Talk to God, I talk about feelings. And honestly, it is like a book for parents as well as children. And I just want to give a huge thank you to you guys for being such a part of this movement where we're teaching this next generation how to be in touch with their feelings and not to suppress stuff. We talked earlier how both Chrissy and Bradley and myself, it was a generation of be seen, not heard, and like parents and did the best they can, but we're just not entering this awareness that mental health is so important, that learning how to express yourself and starting at a young age, learning how to communicate your feelings. I mean, if you can just learn that habit and that skill, because it's just a habit and a skill and a knowing that you're worthy to express your feelings. If you can learn that from a young age, it's truly, I think it is going to just shift the game for this young generation, like to know how to like be in touch with themselves and express it and feel like they're valid. And that is huge. So thank y'all for the work you're doing. Y'all also put out a book last year when I talked to God, or 2 years ago when I talked to God, I talked about you with a album that accompanied it, Prayed for This Day, which is so beautiful. Chrissy's singing, and this, y'all are doing great work. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks for this opportunity.
And of course, Chrissy, everyone knows Chrissy from This Is Us. I mean, that's just a fact. There's never ever gonna not be able to just
That's
like
okay.
bow down
Happy, happy
in
to,
glory. Bow
happy
down
to
in glory to
relate.
you.
No.
Yes. It's a life-changing show. I mean, like if you want to learn how to be a human well in a family, watch This Is Us. She'll do a great job of navigating. I think that's why the world loves it, because like we see ourselves in there, you know?
Yeah, a little bit of a blueprint for life.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna do a few tell me more questions, and I'm gonna ask them, and then y'all both just answer. This is
Okay.
my favorite because it's just, whatever comes to mind, let's just roll.
Okay.
What do you think your 8-year-old self would think about the person you are today?
Oh, I think she'd be like, heck yeah. Yeah, girl, you did it. Like you stood in line long enough. You waited, you persevered. Like, and oh my goodness, we did it.
Like we really did
Yeah,
it.
like we really did it.
Did she know that you were gonna do it? Did she
No,
believe in herself like you do?
no, no. I was afraid of my own shadow. I no, absolutely not. I was just like, yeah, no, I was a mess.
What gave you the confidence to go for your dreams if you were afraid of your own shadow? Because I mean, you really went for them.
Yeah, I think my grandmother instilling faith in a very young age was really helpful, and also like my intention and why. I never wanted fame and fortune. It wasn't like I can't wait to be rich and famous. Like, are you kidding me? Like what? I just wanted to see myself on TV and books and movies and to be able to be like want someone to relate to me and I could relate to them because I didn't feel any of those things growing up. So yeah, it was never about fame or fortune for me. It was just like I get to tell stories and whether it's at a local theater or on a someone's TV every Tuesday night. So yeah,
I love that. So you wanted to be seen and heard and let other people be seen and heard.
yes.
That was the goal, not fame and fortune.
Yeah, no, and I still want that. I think that's why I still, write music and love music. Music is my first love, but like, um, yeah, I mean, that's the whole point like we're on this plane of existence for us to like you're the teacher or the student and sometimes both, and like that's a part of our evolution, and that's why I think we're here. So yeah.
I love that. Okay, Bradley, what do you think your 8-year-old self would think about the person you are today?
Well, I'll say it like this. I was talking to my mom on Sunday night, and I was telling her I went to Samford University down in Birmingham, and I'm going back there to speak to the early education majors in April. And my mom said, "Did you ever think that you'd be going back to college to speak to early education majors about a book you wrote?" And absolutely not. So I would tell my 8-year-old self, it turns out a lot better than you could have imagined because I thought I was supposed to be a music publisher. I thought I was supposed to be in the industry, and those dreams aren't taken away. I feel like they're improved, and I would tell my 8-year-old self that it's better than you think it could be.
I love that. I love that. Okay. What's something you worked really hard on recently?
I'm studying Italian.
What?
Yeah. And so
Why?
I just love it. I
You're just
love,
learning it for fun?
yeah, I just love it. And I've always been like drawn to it. And I got to like number one in the Diamond League because I did like a social media fast for January. And I was like, okay, okay. So, by no means am I, fluent or whatever, but it's just something like I was consistent with and I saw improvement. And I was like, okay, so by the time my friend moves to Italy, I'm going to be able to be conversational and it's going to be exciting. And I'm also trying to develop a TV show that would be set there. So it's like also great research, but yeah, it's been really fun. And I
That's
just love
so cool.
it's beautiful language.
But as an adult, like learning a language feels so daunting and so
It
hard and so
is.
overwhelming. And I feel like, oh, I could never do that. But yes, you can if you want to.
Yeah, you can do anything if you want to. Yeah, it just takes maybe a little more effort. Yeah.
I love that. Okay, Bradley, what is something you've worked really hard on recently?
Well, this song I just had come out, I never thought I'd put one out myself, and it's like
Tell us
when I
the name
was,
again.
what's that?
Was it titled again?
When I don't know what to say,
Hmm.
and going back to BMI to writing, I didn't realize how much I didn't know about music, and that sounds weird because I was working at a company whose middle name is music, and just working and putting myself into songwriting and learning the craft, learning how it works is an ongoing process, and it's still new. I didn't really start doing this or giving myself a shot at it till the end of pandemic, and that's been an ongoing
Way to
learning
step out
process.
as an
Well,
adult
it's
again. Here, stepping out of your comfort zone.
well I would hate to think that I'm in my final form. I think it's just something that always pushes you to do more, to learn more. And yeah, it's writing songs. I learn something new every single day. Usually it's what I realize I don't know, I don't know. I'll always say I'm not afraid of what I don't know. I'm afraid of what I don't know, I don't know. And learning that's
What I
that's a
don't know is even out there not to know.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That is a constant deep dig, deep dive into life.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like a next layer. And it's like as
yeah,
soon as you get kind of like comfortable on one level, it's like, oh man, there's a whole next level and you don't know
yeah,
anything. And you got to do all this new work
yeah. It's a
on
whole new
yourself.
thing,
Yeah, that's awesome though.
which is fun though. It's fun. I feel like I'm in high school again when I was just doing music.
Isn't that great? You don't have to age out, you know?
Yeah, no, you don't. You know, it's a beautiful gift you can give yourself.
I love that. If you could let go of something right now, no matter how big or small, what would it be?
Mm.
I mean, y'all wrote a book about feelings, guys, so these are questions about feelings.
I know what an
I think it's
appropriate
difficult to
question.
say. I think it's
Huh?
difficult to say because maybe everything is necessary. So,
Oh, yes.
like, because and immediately I was like, fear. But I'm like, no, no, no. Fear provides, um, another perspective and another way of looking at something. And it means you care about something. And so I'm like, oh, like what? Huh? What? Mm, I don't know. Like, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
I am constantly working on forgiveness.
You have a hard
Constantly
forgiving
working on
yourself or others?
Oh, both,
Why is
both.
it hard for you? Why is forgiveness a hard one? I mean, it's hard for all of us, but you in particular.
Because I feel like I think things happen. I have in the past thought things happened to me
Mm.
and not for me. And I've always struggled with seeing where's this going? Why did this happen like this? Why did this fork in the road all of a sudden not be an option or a choice? It was, all right, you're on this road now. And a lot of times that's other people or circumstances that put me on a different path. So I'm always working on forgiveness and honoring the emotions and feelings that come with it and just working through it.
Okay, so maybe I thought of one.
Okay.
Um, Perfectionism. Like
Um,
I feel like that really like can paralyze me and it can stifle my creativity. And I'm like, oh, there's no. I think the definition of perfect really means finished. And since nothing's finished, especially arts, never finished, it's just abandoned. Like, yeah, like just it's okay that it's not perfect. It's okay that it's, not maybe exactly what you had in mind, like sort of having to um being okay with that. Um yeah. Although like it's not because I think I'm perfect at all. It's just like, oh, what are people going to think about me if I put this or this or that out?
well,
And
also, when you put yourself out there for the whole world to have opinions on, it's hard not to want it to be a level of perfect because it's a lot to get up people's reactions.
oh yeah, yeah, especially these days. It's everybody has access to everything and
And people are not polite. They're
no,
brutal out there.
no, and they'll say things that they would never say to your face, which is
Like
wild.
inhumane things to people just because of like your protection of a screen, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
people
just
don't feel like you're real.
it's yeah, yeah, it's disturbing. It's really sad actually. Um yeah, there's so many instances of like, people being bullied that yeah, all of that. And maybe that's a part of it. Like, I mean, I'm so exposed that like I don't really care what people think about me because it's not factual anyway. I can't attach the bad or to the good. So
I was at a bookstore on Saturday. I usually go to bookstores on Saturdays, and I
Oh,
saw
that's
some.
so poetic of you, Bradley.
Isn't that?
Yes. The bookstore
and
Saturday. I like that.
and I saw somebody pick up a copy of the first book and being like, "Oh no, no, this is not what I'm looking for." And I would never have said anything, and maybe at another point in my life that would have hurt me, but it's just something that kind of creeps up sometimes, and just knowing that what you do is not perfect for everybody. Um,
mhm.
that's a lesson that you learn or keep being taught, even when you're just having a nice little Saturday at your favorite bookstore, wanting to look at books. Keeps happening.
It
I don't
is,
like I don't like bell peppers on my pizza. Doesn't mean bell peppers aren't good.
right?
Somebody else might love them. So
But
yeah,
it's just such a level of acceptance that you have to get to.
Hmm.
well, that goes back to the self-love and like knowing that like our intention in putting the book out was whole and full-hearted. And if people don't receive that, whether they want to, can't, they're unwilling, incapable, has nothing to do with me. Nothing.
Mm, mm. Gosh, and knowing that to your core is like the biggest achievement you can get in your life.
Yeah,
Is knowing that what other people think of you and your art has nothing to do with you.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oof.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, last question. I really appreciate y'all coming on here. This has been amazing. Okay. What moment of life do you wish you could live again and again?
Mm. I always think I wish I went back to high school and studied more. I wish I applied myself a little more, or I wish I gave myself a shot to write earlier. I started an endowment again at Sanford University, first creative endowment of its kind. I'm not blowing my horn, but I'm just saying it's like that to me was something I gave to 21-year-old me to have the opportunity to see that somebody else in my same circumstances found a path to write and create and live a creative life and not just the majors that were in front of them.
Mm,
So I would go back to my education period and give myself a shot to be creative earlier.
I love that. Okay, Chrissy, what moment of your life do you wish you could live again and again?
Um, it's interesting because my perception of the question is like, is it like this positive experience that like I love that moment so much in my life that like I just want that feeling over and over? Or is it something that like I could glean more insight from that? Yeah, I don't, it's really hard to say because I've had so many beautiful moments that if I went back, would they be as beautiful? Because I'm changed. Like I really overanalyze questions.
That's deep right there.
Oh yeah, girl, it's a lot in here. A lot going on. Um, no, I know I can't just like answer the question, Chris. You can't
I
just
love it. Because
um
look, when I go back, I'm in a different timeline now because I have evolved and so much has changed. You're so right, though.
um but like anytime I'm with my family, like I learn so much about myself and I'm so grateful that, you know, because of where our family came from and where we're at now and our relationships, like that always really um I mean, it's not for naught. Like there's a reason why the dynamics are the way they are, and me being middle child, and like everything I get to learn about myself and about them, and I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint like a particular time. Like I could say, oh, this award show or this nomination or when this song, came out or
Didn't you
whatever
sing at the Oscars with a full like choir behind you?
I did.
I mean, that's a pretty awesome moment.
I mean, incredible. But I thought that I had something wrong with my stomach because it was hurting so bad because the stress that everybody put me under that I don't know that I want to go back and relive that. Like I'm so grateful I'm past that and I'm grateful I did it.
Isn't that interesting though that like
Oh,
we see this moment and it's like, holy cow, but in your head, you're like having an internal issue going on, you
yeah,
know?
literally. I was like everybody was more stressed than I was. And I was like, oh, but again, I learned that like I can't take on people's feelings and manage their emotions. Like I gotta center myself. We learned so
So
much.
much.
Yeah, but I have incredible moments and I can't even believe my life is what it is. I mean, I never thought I would ever go to Africa.
How was that?
It was like life changing.
Tell me
There's
why.
so many reasons. We are so fortunate in this country and all that we have and all that we, whether it's turning on a light switch or like running water that we actually can drink, like very simple things. And the gratitude that they have and the humility, um, especially when I was in Nigeria, like it was, I'm like, we don't even know. We don't even know what we have. Like we can't even conceptualize like a life that looks like that. And it's always the people who have the least that want to be the most giving. And it's just, whoo, yeah, it was very enriching, very, very enriching. And yeah, yeah, it was really, really, really beautiful.
Isn't that amazing that your talent and your craft and your love and your passion can take you all around the world? Literally.
If it's not God, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I can't. I can't explain it.
Because you could never plan it.
Never, never. It was always a bucket list. Like a dream was always to go to Africa. Always.
Really.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you just did it in the most enriching way you possibly could.
yeah, yeah.
Life can be
Incredible.
beautiful if we let it, right?
If we let it, if we
We're
feel,
patient. Yeah.
yeah, if we're worthy to receive it, we feel like, you know, also like, how do we give back? How can we be of service? Like all those things are so rewarding.
I love that. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for these books that y'all been writing. When I talk to God, I talk about feelings. It'll be out when this comes out. Y'all also have the sister book, the first one. When I talk to God, I talk about you as well as Prayed for This Day, the album. And Bradley has a song out to accompany this book. Okay, tell me the name of the song one more time.
When I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say.
It's
Bradley Collins.
instrumental.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And I actually wrote an album to accompany
What?
the book. Yeah.
What?
Called,
What's
called
the
Big,
album called?
called Big Feelings.
Is it out as well?
It's coming out middle of April after the book.
Big fan. Okay, this is awesome, guys. This is so huge. Thank you for using your voice and your platforms to help us learn, parents as well as children, but to start it so young and then to let it just infiltrate us all. Because if we can express our feelings and express ourselves and realize that we're valuable and worthy for just being who we are, and everything that we have inside of us is worth to be heard, and we're just worthy. If we could just learn that, that would just be it. So
Absolutely.
thank y'all so much
Thank you,
for your time
Caroline. So
and
good to see
energy.
you.
Yeah.
This was awesome. Bye, guys.